Hello everyone and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. This is the third round of the Trans Am Championship Season 3 and we are at Tokyo Expressway for this one. So, before we get into qualifying, let's take a look at the championship standings as we always do. So, John Teeter on 67 points, leading the way, 59 points for Artsy in second position. Has a lot of work to do here this weekend. Third place is Bonanotto on 58 points and 54 points for Jester, rounding off the main contenders in this series. Still 2 rounds to go after this one, so still plenty to play out, but with Teeter having 2 very good results already, he really only needs one more good one to put the championship beyond doubt, or at least very close to it. So we'll see and track how that goes across the course of the episode. We'll of course check in on the points at the end, but we're getting way ahead of ourselves. Let's start with qualifying, and yeah, I had to cut this qualifying lap a little bit weirdly because I left my microphone on while I was qualifying, so that was a bit of a whoopsie. So yeah, that's why we're sort of skipping through this in some weird cuts, but my lap was absolutely nothing special at all, so you're not missing too much. But anyway, we will come down the hill into the tunnel and towards the end of the lap, and we'll see what kind of lap time we put in the end. It's 2 minute 10.5, so yeah, pretty average, even by my standards. I was hoping to maybe get into the 9s, but unfortunately that didn't happen. The subsequent lap was no good because the soft tyres just fell off the cliff. And yeah, that's really all the soft tyres are good for here, for me at least, was you know, to get them through, to get a good lap in qualifying, but you know, there's no way I'm going to use them in the race. So we're starting on the medium compound. Mediums and hards required, softs not required, so I will not be touching them because they lasted, barely lasted 2 laps. Yeah, so we'll see how the race itself goes as we get set for racing here at the Tokyo Expressway, and we'll run it through the starting order as well as what tyres everyone is running on. John Teeter starts from yet another pole position. Got My Little Pony on the side of that car, I've only just noticed that. But he starts on soft compound tyres from pole position. Second place for Jester, who starts on the mediums. So a compound difference across the front row. Ferbs in the Camaro this time. Great qualifying in third position. Starts on the soft compound tyres. P4 for Ash, who returns to the series. Great to have Ash back. And Ash will be starting on the mediums as well. Out of P5, Artsy, Teeter's main championship rival, fairway down the grid here so far. It'll be interesting to see how Artsy goes in the race. P6 for the Banana Man, both of them on the medium compound tyres. Hard tyres for Heafy out of P7 on the grid, that very colourful livery. And then off the back, as always, will be myself. A bit of a reduced field, only 8 cars here. I went all out Japan with the livery. So yeah, I've got the Toddy gate on the front, foxes all over the car, and a few references to Baby Metal, also NYK line. I've done that for a Japanese livery before, but I like this as a bit of foreboding as to what was to come in this race. No rain and no rainbow. We did expect some rain in this race, but we'll see how it goes. The Trans Am curse of not having rain. It seems to be a reoccurring theme, but we'll see how it goes as we get off the line and racing here. Heafy, an absolutely dreadful start. What was that? It was in reverse gear. We've seen that before, but we'll see as we head up towards the first corner out of the tunnel and into the daylight. We're in a 7th position, not really too close to any other cars here as we run towards the first corner, and we're gaining a little bit on the car in front as we're maybe a bit too late on the brakes here. Down the inside, we can't stop into the barriers, and Bernardo did a great job to see us coming there and not turn in and cause a collision because we were not able to stop there. But yeah, we are well clear of Heafy, who's had a nightmare off the start on those hard compound tyres. Here's the onboard off the start with Verbs, who got fairly average launch compared to those around. No one really getting in the initial launch phase too much of an advantage, but in the second phase very quick, and here comes Artsy as well. So Artsy already trying to make up some time after that bad qualifying, and picking the gap through the middle there and all the way up into second place. Thought about challenging Tita, but in the end hit the anchors a little bit earlier and slots into second position. So a great start for Artsy, and has gained 3 spots from 5th to 2nd. Here's the onboard with Heafy, just absolutely no drive, really bogged down, and yeah, an awful start for Heafy, and has lost a lot of time in that phase. So that's unfortunate, but he'll come back strong, I'm sure. Here's the onboard with Bananoso. Just opened up the entry to allow me to go flying down the inside and smack into the wall, and we all carry on our merry way. We look forward now to Artsy, and whoa, he's wide there into the barrier. So Artsy made a great start, but is already finding a little bit of trouble, and has clipped the barriers a couple of times. So yeah, we will need to settle things down and get into a rhythm pretty quickly, because that is an angry pack of cars behind, and they're all very close together. Ouch, there's the barrier for myself as well. And you know what, that actually straightened the car out. The car wasn't tracking in a straight line after that turn 1 crash, but after doing that it's going straight again. So 2 wrongs make a right in that situation. And yeah, now as we look further up the field, Ash trying to make the move, and gets through on Jester. Oh, Ferbs, there's a big moment there, and wow, that all got a bit chaotic. But I'm also trying to get involved now as well, as Ferbs is trying to rebuild the speed along the straight, and wow, a lot of straight line speed out of the Ferbs car, straight past Jester and Ash, and takes those positions back with ease along the main straight. So great straight line speed, and Jester gets past Ash as well. So a great straight line battle here, and you can see there is nothing wrong with the straight line handling of Ferb's car. And oh, Artsy out into the wall again. So it's really been a troubled start to the race for Artsy. Great track position at the moment, but continues to get the corners a little bit wrong. So we'll see how that progresses, as Ferbs is really starting to close in now to the back of Artsy on what is now the second lap of the race. And wow, Artsy wide there. So this is continuing on a bit. Oh, into the wall. A big crash there for Artsy. Ferbs goes through. So does Jester. There goes Ash trying to get through as well. And I think they all managed to file through. Ash just getting it done now. And yeah, Banana Auto just about closing in too. Here's the onboard with Artsy, just wide out into the wall. Lost control into the opposite wall. Big damage to 3 corners of the car now. And there goes Jester. Oh, squeezes Ash into the wall there as well. So that all got very, very tight there, but eventually gets things stabilized as Ash drifts it out and grazes the barrier as well. Here's the onboard with Ferbs. This was intense. From this onboard, millimeters away from disaster there for Ferbs, but it gets away with it and moves up into second position in what's becoming a very strong race for Ferbs. And then this moment here, down the inside, Ash on Jester. And is he going to be able to get the move done? Ash moves ahead, and that is a great move for Ash. He is back on form and makes the move, and is looking strong as ever here. So Ash, nicely done there, and moves ahead of Jester. And Artsy now in pursuit after that little moment. How much straight line speed does Artsy have? It was great off the line, so that could mean great straight line speed as well. We'll have to see as they all file along the main straight. Who's going to pass who this time? Artsy's got the run on Jester as they run side by side through the tunnel. Jester trying to keep the fight going now, has maybe a slight advantage. Jester just pushing ahead, but there's really not much in it. And Jester, I think, has just about got this one done. But again, a great straight line battle along the run between the last and first corner. This massive straight, onto lap 3 of the race now, and this has been a fantastic battle. Ash now ahead of Jester, and they will soon continue this fight for the third place on the podium as things stand, but still plenty to play out in this one. But they are having a great scrap, and now Bananato trying to get involved, is getting a bit held up by Artsy now, and will be desperate to try and get through and not get held up by Artsy, who's carrying a lot of damage on that car now. Like I said, I think there's 3 corners of that car that have damage, so it's not going to be too easy of a task for Artsy to even be controlling that thing at the moment. It's probably driving in all directions that aren't straight, and Bananato trying to make the move to the left-hand side and can't quite get through. Artsy doing a great job to hold on despite the damage, but surely it's only a matter of time before Bananato gets through as they continue to fight. There's really not much in it at the moment as they are bumper to bumper, and Artsy wide into the wall. Bananato trying to make the move now around the outside, might just get it done here through the left-hander, can't get it done, tries to switch it back and now gets the run to what it will once again be the outside line. Will he be able to get it done? Slight left-hander might just help a little bit as they run side by side into the right, and it's not going to be enough for Bananato. Tries to switch it back once again, but Artsy's still doing a great job to hold on, so this is a fantastic battle between these two. It goes on and on for yet another lap in a straight line, and we saw Artsy had pretty good straight line speed before, so that's definitely going to help in this battle pack. But yeah, they have dropped off the back of the group ahead significantly, given that they were all on top of each other at the end of the previous lap. But they are fighting very, very hard for this position, but Artsy has skipped away in a straight line, which is going to help immensely as they all head up towards the first corner, and Artsy will be maybe thinking about catching up to Jester and the pack ahead once more, but at the moment, oh, he's wide again, and that might just be the opportunity Bananato needs. And look down the inside, Artsy wide again into the barriers. Is that going to be it for this battle as Bananato draws alongside down the inside? And as they're going to continue this fight all the way through, and the Banana Man will eventually make the position up into P5. That is a spectacular fight for 5th place on track. My goodness, that took a long time for Bananato to get that move done, but what a battle between those two at the start of this race. There is no holding back from anyone here, and for now, we go back on board with myself. We're struggling a little bit for general pace, and we're still holding the margin to Heafy though, which is nice. So who knows, we might have someone to fight with here as we get the tail wagging and the rear tyres begin to fade. Even the mediums were not a great compound for me in terms of race trim. They just dropped off the cliff way too quickly. But anyway, into the pits comes the Banana Man, and the soft tyres on for Bananato. Medium tyres go on for Artsy, and we'll be repairing that damage, I am sure. Despite the fact our tyres are starting to go a little bit, we're going to continue on and stretch this stint for a little bit longer, try and just reduce the number of pit stops we have to make in this race. Heafy comes into the pit lane from last position, started on those hard compound tyres, and after a fairly short stint will come in for the medium compound, and it'll be pit requirements complete for Heafy as well. Could do whatever he wants for the rest of the race beyond this point. But soon after, we see Ferbs come into the lane from 2nd position, started on the soft compound tyres, and will now switch to the hard compound. Still needs to use the mediums later in the race. Just goes on as Ash comes into the pits, and it'll be a second set of mediums going on for Ash. Once again, still needs to use the hard compound tyres later on, but as we continue on, it's still starting to have some tyre related issues, but eventually it's actually the fuel that will bring us into pit lane as we've got Bananato coming towards us. You can see the rear tyres completely dead, but that's not going to bring us into pit lane. We're going to run the fuel out and do it that way. I don't know if that's the best way, but it's how I'm running my strategy. I can control it with dead rear tyres. It's not the worst thing in the world, but yeah, ultimately I don't think it's going to have a huge impact on the outcome of this race. It's you know, the pace is the big issue, not the strategy. But anyway, we're wobbling our way through the first few corners out into the wall, and we have Ash trying to get through. There he goes, having to take just a little bit of avoiding action there, but no harm done as we just slid wide there. And yeah, Ash was easily able to get through there, so we're all good. We continue to race on, but that is the effect of having dead tyres when you're under a bit of pressure from behind. You know, it's very easy to lose control. Speaking of losing control, Artsy into the wall again. A sight we are slowly becoming accustomed to in this race, unfortunately. Artsy just, yeah, just a bit clumsy today. That's really the only way to put it. And has put a couple of dents in that Camaro, but still has great pace. So not slowing him down too much at this point. As oh, that's another one into the wall. To be fair, that corner is very, very tough at the best of times, so it's understandable. But anyway, into the pits comes Ferbs once again at the end of that hard tyre stint, and this will be a stop onto the medium tyres. So yeah, just a single lap to get the hard tyres out of the way. Interesting. I kind of plan to do a whole stint on the hards, or you know, maybe even the rest of the race. I'll just see what the pace is like. But for me, the soft tyres are out of the question. But it seems like you know, for the others, at least for Ferbs and John Tita, who has yet to pit, the soft tyres might be okay. But anyway, we're into the pits now. The hard tyres go on, so we'll see what they're like. But yeah, for me, the soft tyres would be a 3-lap stint at the most, and that's just not feasible to run that as a strategy. But anyway, Artsy is into the pits, and it is the soft tyres going on for Artsy. So yeah, clearly the tyre of choice for many others in this race, as John Tita lags his way into pit lane, and will make a 7-lap stint on soft tyres. I couldn't even do that on mediums, and I'm going to struggle to do that on hards, I think. So great tyre management from John Tita. A very short stop for Tita, though, and moves on to the hard compound tyres, and will come out right in front of me, but of course a full lap ahead. So we've already lost the lead lap in this race, as we see Jester come into the pit lane. And Jester will be moving on to the hard compound tyres, again ticking off those requirements, and in soon as well will come Ferbs to put the soft compound tyres on. So yeah, a whole variety of you know, slightly different strategies are playing out in this one, and it's going to be very hard to sort of track where everyone is until we get through this kind of chaotic phase of the race, you know, where everyone is just sort of trying to burn through all of their you know, unnecessary compounds and stints. But anyway, Tita cycles through the lane once again, as we also see Jester coming in, and yeah, it's going to be another stop for Jester, and it's the soft tyres going up for Jester this time. So another, you know, stint ticked off, and Jester can now run the softs for the rest of the race, as we see now a few more stops coming, as Ash comes into the pit lane, and Ash will be moving on to the hard compound tyres after starting on the mediums, and again ticking off that tyre requirement, as we finally get some action on circuit now. We've got Artsy closing in to Heafy, the two Thunder drivers, pretty close together on track as they head through the hairpin. Heafy a bit wide there as Artie's got it much more tucked in on the inside line, and Heafy doesn't make it too difficult. Those headlights are blindingly bright on the Heafy car though compared to Artie's. Huge difference in brightness there, so yeah, interesting. But anyway, we continue on back on board with myself, and not a terrible amount going on in my world. Beep beep along the straight, but we've got John Teeter behind, but he pulls into the pits, and oh, he's on the hard tyres. I think I called that he runs the hards before the mediums earlier on, but other way around. Regardless, 2 one-lap stints on the mediums, then the hards, and now back onto the softs for John Teeter, as we also see Ash come into the pit lane. Been 2.5 seasons, and I still keep getting Artsy and Ash mixed up. But anyway, Ash goes on to the softs and has got those tyre requirements now complete, can run the softs for the rest of the race, as the Banana Man comes into the pits next, and that'll be a stop on to the hard compound tyres for Bananotto, and yeah, we'll probably only run those for 1 lap, I would assume, but you know, given all the pit stops that have happened, we now see, even after that stop onto the hards, Bananotto is still in the race lead, so it's really hard to tell where everyone is at this moment in the race, as we come into pit lane ourselves to get rid of these hard tyres. Did 6 laps on them, same as I did on the mediums. Probably could have gone a couple more, but again, fuel was the issue, so yeah, they felt alright, but the speed just wasn't there, so yeah, we'll see. We'll go back onto the mediums and see if we have any better luck. But anyway, into the pits comes the Banana Man once more, and he was under a bit of pressure from John Teeter, or would have been very soon if he didn't come in to get rid of those hard compound tyres. So yeah, another stop there for the Banana Man, as we also see Artsy coming along into pit lane as well, and Artsy will box for another set of the soft compound tyres. So yeah, they are definitely the tyre of choice for everyone else. I don't know, I couldn't make them last 2.5 laps, so yeah, I don't know how it's working for everyone else, but could just be throttle control and such things, and a bit of setup as well, I don't know. I did my own setup for this round, which is the first in quite a while, and yeah, actually I got the car handling pretty well, but yeah, like I said, the pace just isn't there for me. Ash into pit lane once more, and softs go on for Ash, as we also see Heafy into the lane now as well. So the pit lane very, very busy here, with quite a lot of short stints going on. Even, you know, the longer stints, you know, for me I can only do 6 laps given the fuel, more if I save fuel, but it's a very difficult track to actually save fuel, because it's got such a long main straight. You don't want to be running fuel map 6 along that straight. It's just going to burn so much time, because you're running, you could be running 70 kilometers an hour slower at the end of the straight. Maybe that's a bit exaggerated, but anyway, this is the closest battle on track. Jester is very close behind Ferbs, and has been for a little while at this point, so these two running very, very close together, and yeah, absolutely on the chase is Jester, with Ferbs holding down a fantastic P2. That could easily be a personal best result in Trans Am for Ferbs, if he can hold on to that position. But Jester comes into the pit lane to maybe try and get the undercut on Ferbs. It's going to be the soft compound tyres for Jester, as we also see into the pit lane comes the Banana Man, followed by Ash in close proximity there, so they're quite close on track as well, as Bananato and Ash will both put on another set of the soft compound tyres for the pair of them. We are well past the halfway point in the race by now, and really we've been having to show a lot of pit stops. That's all. There hasn't been too much of this kind of stuff on track action, and that is Heafy making the move on Tita to get back on the lead lap. So after a pretty steady start, Heafy is starting to unlock some pace in this race, and has passed Tita to get back on the lead lap. So yeah, Heafy running with some good pace at the moment. As into the pits right now comes Ferbs for yet another pit stop, and Ferbs will move on to another set of the soft compound tyres, and we'll carry those for the next section of the race. Back with Heafy. Oh, into the wall goes Heafy, and now Tita closing in will make the move. Heafy won't put up too much of a fight, I don't think, and Heafy will just drop in behind once more. So unfortunately just drops off the lead lap once again there for Heafy, and there's a bit of damage to that car as well, I think. But anyway, as we continue on, Heafy, bit of a moment there, but manages to keep things pointing in the right direction, but only just there, as we see John Tita heading into the pit lane once more, and it of course will be another set of the soft compound tyres going on for John Tita, and we'll change those tyres. So back on board with myself, and as we continue on, we're coming towards the end of this stint on lap 18 of the race now. So this will be the final lap of this stint. I was tossing up whether to pit this lap or the previous, but I thought just in case we finish one lap down as opposed to two, I'll go one more, otherwise I'll have to make another stop, and just to get that last lap in. So I had to extend this stint, but what that means is we have to do this lap on dead tyres as we hit the barriers there, and it's just another messy phase of the race as we slide it out into the wall. Now we're getting blue flagged along the back section of the circuit, and it's very difficult to find a place to move out the way here. So I'm looking back, trying to see where everyone is going to start catching up. And we've got a little bit of a gap at the moment, but we've got no grip. The rear end steps out into the barriers there, and now everyone's closing in. So I'm just going to park it off the side of the road here. It's a bit of an awkward spot as Jester gets a bit close there, but we'll just about manage to keep out of everyone's way. And now I think we are clear of everyone, and we can go again. But they couldn't have caught up in a worse spot, but of course they're always going to catch up in the corners because that's where I'm losing time. But anyway, on board with Artsy, who's still having a bit of a tough time of things here, and a few more scrapes with the barriers as we were moving out the way there. But anyway, we've got Ash now on the back of Bananotto. So what's going to happen here? As Ash is pretty close, Bananotto into the wall, Ash making the move, and might just get through there, and Ash moves up ahead. So a nice move, and the second time Ash has been able to capitalize on that kind of opportunity. Obviously made that move on Jester in a very similar part of the circuit earlier on in this race. But anyway, we'll come into the pits for our final stop on lap 18. It's going to be another set of medium tyres going on, given that this will probably be a 5-lap stint to the end. And we will fill up with fuel as well. But out on circuit, things aren't getting much better for Artie. Monumental slide there. That was stylish, actually. That was a nice one into the first corner. Oh, not so nice there, though. Into the barriers for Artie. So, yeah, it's a tough time out there as we stop the refuel a bit prematurely there. But this is all the fuel we'll need to get to the end of the race. So we're set to go. We can push on. The fight with Heafy is long gone. We just didn't have the pace in the end as Heafy got into a better rhythm. Speaking of Heafy comes into the pit lane for yet another pit stop, and it'll be the soft tyres going on for Heafy. So yet another stop as we see. Oh, that is Jester into the wall there. So not only Artsy struggling in this one, Jester finally joins the select few of us who have incurred damage in this race. But yeah, oh, Artsy, big moment there at the hairpin, and actually has to reverse out of that one, so unfortunate there, as we see Ash running a bit deep, and a couple of moments at the hairpin all at once. Will Bananato be able to capitalize on this? Closes in right behind, and we'll try to get the power down into the tunnel. We look at Artie now heading off into the pit lane, and into the pit lane as well will be Ash and Bananato all into pit lane at once. So it's a battle of the pit crews here, battle of the fuel economy as well, how much they will need to refuel to get to the end from here. And we'll see who comes out first out of this lot. It's the fight for fourth position between these guys, and out of pits first will be Bananato. So into pits last, out of pits first, with perhaps less damage to repair in the case of Artsy, and a bit more fuel on board perhaps than Ash. But either way, nicely done by Bananato. As a Heafy into the wall again, unfortunately. So another moment there for the driver running down in P7 at the moment. Heafy just getting a bit of damage again from that one. But anyway, back on board with myself, getting past Artsy as Artsy comes out of the pit lane. I was undecided as to whether I should go past or just slot in behind, but in the end we had quite a bit of overspeed, and I didn't want to give up that amount of time. Not that I'm racing for too much here, but into turn one we go, a little bit deep, and Artsy is going to be right on us here, so we're just going to run the higher line around here, let Artsy take the inside. Into the wall goes Artsy. Goodness me, it's been a difficult day for Artsy, and yeah, those walls are like a magnet. I know the feeling. As we look at Heafy once more, getting it all wrong out of the hairpin, and straight ahead into the barrier. That's probably one of the bigger moments we've seen down at that part of the circuit, and Heafy will get going again, but that's not a good moment for Heafy, and yeah, that's very much unfortunate. But anyway, gets going once again, and we'll probably have a bit of damage at the front end of that car after that moment, and Heafy heads into pit lane then after that, and we'll get yet another set of soft compound tyres on. Someone do the maths and work out how many sets of tyres we've collectively burnt through in this race. It is going to be some unholy number. I am sure we're using more tyres than a Formula 1 weekend at this point. It's kind of crazy how many pit stops are being made in this race as Artsy finds the barriers once again. It just never ends. Anyway, back on board with myself. I was really hoping to stay one lap down, but that's just not going to happen. Teeter's caught up, and we just run the high line through the hairpin and let Teeter through, and we've dropped off 2 laps behind the leader now, unfortunately. So yeah, if I strategized a bit better and did less laps on rubbish tyres, I think I really underestimated how short pit stops were at this circuit. You could get in and out very quickly, so it's definitely worth making pit stops a bit more often and running dead tyres less often, essentially. And I might have been able to stay within a 1 lap down as opposed to 2, but yeah, that's just how it's gone. But anyway, from this moment on, I obviously you can see the rear tyres are starting to go a little bit, and yeah, the drifting started to come back into it at the end of this stint. So yeah, that's basically what the rest of this race became for me, was just trying to pull off some nice little drifts through the back section of the circuit. The tyres aren't quite completely gone, so we can't really can't do it quite yet. There's a nice one, but yeah, that was a target really towards the end of this race, was just to get some cool camera shots like that. Artsy also had a few little moments as well, and yeah, we were all struggling for tyres towards the end. and starting to drift more and more. And yeah, especially on the final lap of the race, my tyres, of course, really fell off at the rear end, completely worn out. And yeah, that made this thing quite skatey, but still very controllable, which is nice. That's something I've really been struggling with when I try and do my own setups, especially when the tires wear out. The car just becomes uncontrollable. But this, it was sliding, but it was a very catchable slide, as you can see there. Nice bit of smoke coming off the tires there, and there's another angle of it. But yeah, we are we're able to contain it when it slides, and perhaps because the front tires still have some grip, that's helping. But yeah, that last lap was actually a lot of fun, getting all those drifts in. But John Teeter out in front doesn't care about any of that. It's another victory for John Teeter. Pole position, race win, fastest lap for John Teeter. Amazing performance once again, and that will almost put the championship beyond doubt, but not quite. We'll talk about that in a moment. I'll actually be second across the line, given that I only just lost that second lap to John Teeter. So we'll come to the line to take PA. It's actually the best result I've had this season in what has arguably been the toughest race pace-wise. Street Style and Mr. Ferbs comes home in second position on track. So easily the best result for Ferbs in Trans Am so far, as Jester comes into the pit lane on the final lap and is zooming into the pit lane. Oh my goodness, that is a weird shot to see there, goodness me. But Jester takes third. Oh wow, that was quite something. That was dangerous, that's what that was, as we will see the Banana Man having another good run here, and pulling off a few drifts in the final stages of this one, getting it all sideways out of the hairpin. Bit of a wobble on the exit, but gets it pointing in the right direction, and will blast down towards the finish line. And it's been another solid race from Bananotto, another top 4 result, and keeps that consistent run going to try and stay in that fight for the top positions in the championship. So another good run for Bananotto, and we'll take P4 here. And very nice. We will see Heafy, who was right behind, went very wide out of the hairpin, and we'll get going again. But yeah, Heafy's had a pretty tough race, has found the barrier on multiple occasions, and of course had that very, very slow start, and an equally slow finish. Pulls up just before the finish line and is stationary there, as Ash, I think that is, coming towards the line now to take P5. It goes straight through Heafy, and yeah, I don't think Heafy's plan really worked there. But Artsy will be next, but didn't quite actually make it to the line before the timer cut off there. So there are the results of the race. Max points for John Teeter. An amazing race, and fantastic job. No one could compete with John Teeter today. And in terms of the championship fight, it's almost enough for Teeter to win the championship. Not quite, but almost. So yeah, let's take a little look at that now. Okay, so here are the championship standings then. Teeter leads the way, 102 points. Massive run of form from Teeter. 33 points, 34 points, 35 points from the first 3 rounds. And given that you choose your best 3 out of the 5 for your total points, he's almost scored max points. He's only 3 points away from the most you can score in a season. But the fight for second is very close. Bananotto on 84 points, 82 for Jester, 81 for Artsy, and 76 for Ferbs, also in that fight. But what I want to draw attention to is the fact that Artsy has a 32 point score at Blue Moon Bay. Now, the most you can score in a round is 35. So if you do that in the last 2 rounds plus the 32, that adds up to 102 points. So technically, Artsy could tie with Teeter in the points total if Artsy can clean sweep the final 2 rounds. It's unlikely, but you never know. So we're counting on you, Artsy. This needs to happen. Otherwise, we'll see John Teeter to another Trans Am victory. But as you can see, Monza is up next. I'm really looking forward to Monza. That's going to be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the rain once again did not show itself here this round, so we may have to wait for Le Mans to see that. Who knows? But anyway, that is going to do it for this one. So I would say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It's always very helpful. But other than that, I will see you in the next one, and goodbye.